in Kundalini yoga, but I think in any kind of yoga tradition, breath is a very essential part because it's a way to consciously connect to our basic vital source, vital energy, to the prana. And the moment you realize how your breath is reflecting your state and also how it can influence your state, state of mind, emotional state, energetical state, wherever it is, you gain so much more power on your life, and it's really a game changer. So I think it's a very practical tool, very simple tool, because it's always available to anyone. You're constantly breathing, whether you want or not. So it is something that is constantly there for you to use. So you don't even need to be a spiritual seeker in order to access to this amazing power that lies in your breath. So for me, it's something that should be taught in the schools from day one. Yeah, in Kundalini yoga, it's very usual to combine physical movement and focus and breath and eventually even mantra or mudra. So we combine the power of all these tools, and especially connecting movement with the breath. On one hand, I feel it has a very strong synchronizing effect. It increases your consciousness because you are training your mind to concentrate on different things. And many times my personal experience is that the more I breathe, the more I can open up for a movement. And the more spacious a movement is, the more space I have for the breath. So they are kind of increasing each other, and definitely increasing also the effect of the exercise, because I'm moving more and more prana and gaining more and more space of movement. So I'm expanding myself. As I shared also yesterday in our touch practice, for me touch is a very essential way of getting in touch, relating to someone and communicating. So, touch can be a tricky thing in these kind of settings when you're facilitating a breathwork, for example, because you can never really know what's the history, what kind of history your patient is arriving with. So it can be a bridge between you. It can be something that helps your patient to relax and to surrender and to come back to his or her own body. But it can be also a trigger. So I feel it requires a lot of sensitivity and presence and also awareness of your own body, and to be aware that you are these two bodies, these two auras, these two spaces, two beings are constantly communicating, and they don't use necessarily our primary channels of communication. So maybe you expect to have a verbal yes or no to your questions, whether you can touch or not, but actually the answers will come in a different way, and it can be also contrary to the verbal expression, because maybe someone says yes to your question, whether you can touch him or her, but actually his body says no. So you need to be there, ready to listen. So I think when it comes to touch, your main skill is listening with your whole being, listening in your finest ways, in your very subtle perception. So actually your sensitivity will raise the sensitivity of your partner. And one of the ways can be through touch. I really appreciate her gentleness because it allows anybody to relax into this space and to open up. And then her sensitivity always guides her, whether more is needed or that's enough. And yeah, my personal approach is always that less is more. So, because you might tap into places where if you go with too much intensity, that people are not ready to face, not ready to hold. And for me, this is a very intelligent way, the way she does this. Intelligent and sensitive and wise and very effective also. Yeah, I think I would just come back to the amazing gift that we have in our breath and encourage everyone to find their way to explore this power and use it in the daily life.